Hold up. My views are my own. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Lightning round. Dangerously close.
My guest today is Steve Young. Australian-based actor Steve Young is terrific at creating memorable characters. He recently emerged as an ex-con in Lionsgate's Sons of Summer alongside Tamara Morrison and created and starred as a hot-tempered gangster in the award-winning short Hell's Kitchen. The proof-of-concept film marks the directorial and screenwriting debut for Young, who also co-produced and is now developing it into a full-length feature with his creative partner and director of photography, Joshua Haro.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Hell's Kitchen has earned numerous 5-star reviews and festival accolades, including winning Best Drama at World Fest Houston, the world's oldest independent film festival, as well as nominations for Best Film, Best Actor, and Best Ensemble Cast at several top 50 global festivals. Apple TV and Amazon have recognized its quality and are now distributing it worldwide. What's up, Steve?
Hey, how you doing? Your thanks. Good intro.
Thanks, man.
I like that.
I'm a bit disheveled, like I was telling you a moment earlier, but yeah, I'm just now realizing too that you must have maybe just woke. I don't know what your day is like, but this is like crack of dawn for you, right? You're in Australia.
Yeah, it's 7 a.m. in the morning here. I was up at 5 o'clock, especially for this. So I've been up and about for a while. I've had my coffee, so.
So yeah, so this is like the beginning of my Saturday night. So like I'm already like getting ready to kind of like light up, live a a fun rest of the evening. So I hope we get on the same like kind of like page. I've had a gnarly day, dude. One of my friends who is an occasional co-host on the show got attacked by a dog today. Like this day has been gnarly. Yeah, we were
his dog or another dog.
A dog attacked his dog. He put his hand into the fight, and that was his hand does not look good.
Yeah.
So for everyone listening that listens to the show, don't worry, Zach's gonna be fine. He's just gonna have some cool dog bite scars.
Yeah. And trauma.
He's a tough cookie, man. I'll tell you that. So I just watched your short film, Hell's Kitchen. And, but like I said in the little intro just there, this is your directorial debut. Wanted to ask you, like, why did you pick the American gangster genre?
Well, I have my family from New Jersey, Rutherford, New Jersey, kind of Belleville area, North Arlington. I lived and worked in New York. I've been going in and out of the States since I was a kid. So, my grandmother, she's up in Hudson County, was up in Hudson County. She's passed away. Lots of family, friends in that area. So, I've kind of got a beat for the New York way of life a little bit. And I think I'm obviously a huge fan of Martin Scorsese and the gangster genre in general. But I must admit, I mean, my friends thought I was crazy because, the first thing you ever write, I'm going to write and direct a gangster film is my first kind of film off the block. So a few of my friends thought I was a bit crazy. But look, I think no one's doing gangster movies. It seems like a small niche, and I just thought I could do it well.
Yeah, dude. But didn't you like so I didn't even get to like, I mean, I barely read even a fraction of your kind of your bio because it was people don't want to hear me talk for 5 minutes. But like you spent a lot of time in New York, right? Weren't you like a Wall Street, like what's that? An actuary?
Yeah.
You have to be pretty smart to be an actuary, right? Like that's like you catch all the mistakes that all the like sneaky guys are doing, right?
Yeah, well, I set up a company in I we set up a we were a foreign entity that came in the States and set up a company, and I was the vice president. So I was at the time. So I went to New York. I set up the company on Wall Street, and then I opened up an operation in Chicago, and I was going between both, and I grew the business. But yeah, actuaries are mathematicians, basically, very smart. I'm an affiliate member of the Institute of Actuary, but I'm not an actual qualified actuary. So my company was specializing in headhunting actuaries and basically recruiting actuaries worldwide, because it's such a small niche, that no one really recruits them, and they don't. It's a very niche market. So we set up the business, and in the evening I'd go to acting school at the T.
Oh,
Schreiber
cool.
Studio, and then so I studied acting, and I also did stand up comedy in New York for about 4 years. While I was studying and acting and doing comedy, I performed with Louis C.K. and Jim Gaffigan one night doing stand up comedy. So that was that's when I realized that it's quite a competitive market in New York. Um, and then, and then when I finished studying acting, I kind of gave it up for a while because I moved to the States. Because when I was on Wall Street, I was there. All my clients were financial service clients. So I was dealing with all the top executives at the big four accounting firms, all the top actuarial consulting firms. And I had clients all over the States. And the crash, that's when the Wall Street crash happened. And I was obviously on Wall Street that day
Oh, was
in
that the like
2008.
the subprime mortgage crisis? That one?
Yeah, that crack. Yeah, exactly. And it was chaos. And then literally overnight, I lost every single one of my clients.
Oh,
Boom.
damn. Oh, damn.
Yeah,
That's great.
it was just brutal. Yeah. And so the company struggled for years, and that's why I ended up in Australia, because they we at the time the mining was propping up the economy here. And I was like, I'm just gonna go to Australia. So I got on a plane and came to Australia, and I haven't left.
Hell yeah, dude. But yeah, because like another thing I think I neglected to mention in like I guess you were born in Scotland, raised in Australia. Is that like how it went?
No, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I was born in Scotland. I went to school in Scotland, but I've lived in 9 countries around the world. So before I decided to get into acting and the likes, I had lived in, I've been in the United States, obviously, because I got family there. I lived in Hong Kong. I lived in London, England, Hong Kong, Moscow, Egypt, Cairo. Spent some time, yeah, Singapore, Jakarta, in Indonesia, Surabaya, Indonesia. Did business a lot, obviously, in places like Beijing and Shanghai, and I lived in obviously Melbourne, and now in the Gold Coast in Queensland. So I got around, and obviously
Yeah.
in New York as well,
I'm gonna go
and
ahead
New
and just
Jersey. Yeah.
I'm gonna show a moment of vulnerability and say I don't know that I've had a guest on before that like gave me that much FOMO and like one like the fear of missing out, like because uh man, I mean I'm an American and like I've been to every single state in this country almost, there's a bunch that I've
Yeah.
skipped because I didn't think there was anything that I wanted to see there, but like and the thing is like damn man, like Hong Kong, Moscow. Like, what the hell? Like, what do they speak English in like Moscow?
No, not really. Yeah, no.
Why'd you
Yeah,
go? Why'd you go there?
they're pretty. Well, I was in between contracts. I used to. I was in between contracts. I used to be like a management consultant, and I used to. In between, I spent 4 months. Moscow, I went there for 4 months. I didn't actually work in Moscow. I just went there to drink the vodka. In between heading to, I think I was heading
Dope.
to London to work or heading to Cairo to work. And I had a Canadian buddy of mine that ran a company in Moscow, and I went there, because of the timing of the contract. I spent 4 months there, but I worked and lived in all the other places, like, and yeah, it was a rough place. I had a gun thrown in my, like they would follow you as a foreigner. They try to get money off you, and it was pretty rough. It was a
Yeah.
pretty crazy time. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
wouldn't
wild, man.
recommend it.
So, I mean, yeah, I know just like I was kind of getting into like the early years. I'll be like, the pre-acting, but like so it was like I guess like acting something you always wanted to do, or was that something you just kind of picked up like you did comedy, you did stand up, you did like you opened for like Louis C.K. Is like, where did acting come into play? Like, because honestly, it sounds so, to me personally, as someone who hasn't really got to see the world, like being able to just travel, like be like, yo, I'm gonna go to Cairo. Now I'm gonna go to Belfast. Now I'm gonna go to
Yeah.
Moscow. Like, how do you kind of like give that up to like to something like so much harder?
It is, yeah. Yeah, acting's hard. I don't actually enjoy it that much. I mean, obviously, it's a love-hate relationship. You know, I
Yeah.
love doing it, but I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be hard. Um, I it was just one day I was sitting in my apartment in New York, in New Jersey, actually, Jersey City. I lived there for a while, and I was always creative when I was younger. I when I was a teenager, I worked as a dancer and I did some cabaret and stuff. And I was like, you know, I think I want to be an actor and stand up comedy. And I just literally signed up and auditioned and went to school. But it was strange because after the corporate situation on Wall Street, when I came to Australia, I gave up I kind of gave up acting and I gave up comedy. It was a strange time, and I kind of settled here. And I'm also an older actor. I kind of get into acting later in life, and I had this kind of body of work, corporate. But the experience that I had, I think, set me up nicely to do acting. And it wasn't until the last few years where something clicked, and that's when I started to take it seriously. And then obviously things have kind of gone gangbusters in a few years. I've made a focus on it, and you know I've shot, been in quite a few feature films, and you know I've created my own projects, a couple of my own projects, including Impulse, which is a pilot for it was a big fan film that's screening next week in LA actually, and yeah, the shift once I think I in my mind, I was like, yeah, I can do this and I can do this professionally. Because every time I kind of acted, I was kind of either getting nominated or winning awards. And I thought, I've actually got talent. I've started to believe in yourself. It's a neo moment where I'm like, I can actually do this seriously and professionally. And as soon as I got that in my brain, then it just happened.
Oh yeah. You know, I think a question I might have asked you before, like I got to know you a little bit better, was gonna be like, oh, well, you know, why'd you take this leap from I'm acting and now I'm gonna start directing? But hearing a little bit more about your past, I'm like, I get the impression that you're not intimidated by trying new things at any moment.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not. I mean, I've yeah. Well, look, Hell's Kitchen was. I've been collaborating for a while with my Josh on projects, and when I got the gig, when I landed Blood Vessel, when I was working with, I got to spend a few days working with Alyssa Sutherland, who Vikings, she was in the Vikings TV show, Evil Dead Rises. Chris Kirby, who was Mauser in Matrix 2 and 3 and a whole bunch of movies. Who else? You know, some well-known actors, very established. You kind of realize you really raise your game.
Yeah.
And I that gave me that launches that just adds confidence. And then I get another feature, and then I realized that I was like, I should create my own work. You know, I've always kind of been that way. You know, and you get taught that at school as well. You know, create your own projects if you can, if you get the money or the resources, etc. And so I'd never written before. I mean, I'd written jokes for stand-up comedy,
Yeah.
but I'd never written before, and I hadn't. I knew I had enough experience, and directing. I just knew I could do it. You know, I kind of worked with a choreographer, and I used to teach a bit of dancing when I was younger. I was very good with people for my corporate experience and what, and I know actors, and I'm like I can direct. So, yeah, when I wrote Hell's Kitchen, you know, I was a little bit cocky, I guess, when I was like, I'm going to write this. It's going to win a whole bunch of awards, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't realize how successful it would be to kind of write, direct, produce, do the wardrobe, every detail of the production, the project of it. I obviously funded it and paid everybody, and I did it all as a proof of concept, like Whiplash, like those movies,
Yeah.
Lock,
Yeah.
Stock. I think even Reservoir Dogs was done as a proof of concept to raise funds for a feature, and that's what I did. and that was my purpose. And then obviously a whole bunch of 5-star reviews started to come in, and it started to get selected at top 50 film festivals, and then it's won, and so it kind of got this kind of snowball effect.
Proof of concept is not like a term that most people are familiar with. So like when you do something as proof of concept, like what does that term mean?
Yeah, so you shoot a couple of scenes from the feature film version, and you kind of put it together so it kind of works as a kind of short format film, i.e., short film,
Okay.
and then you use that as like your resume, like your pitch deck, and so you put it out there with a business plan, and then say, look, this is, I want you to invest in this movie so we can shoot the feature film. And but I mean, the distributor in London called me up and they were shocked. They were like, Amazon won this, and they just put short films on their platform. And so yeah, then Apple and Google. So yeah, obviously it's now out. It's been out for a few months, I think now.
Oh yeah, I was actually
But
so stoked because I looked in. Yeah, when I have Amazon, so I was like, I went on there and at first I was like pissed off because like that Gordon Ramsay TV show.
yeah,
It sucks because like
sure.
that pops up first, and I'm like, no, I want the movie, but it wasn't hard to find. It's just like the first thing that doesn't have his face on it. So also anybody that's gonna go check it out, just it takes like 1 second to just find the one thing that's not Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, yeah, you can tell by the poster it's a gangster movie,
Yeah.
pretty good. But I was inspired by things like Sopranos, because I used to live around those kind of areas where they shot that, with the Sopranos, and Donnie Brasco and a touch of Carlito's Way. Those are the things that inspired me
Oh,
to make it.
before you go any further, this is a question that I had to ask you before you say any more films. I wanted to say, all right, Steve Young's top 5 gangster films in your opinion. You can rank them, or you can just put out 5. I know that's a hard question. I've been thinking about it all day.
Yeah, number one has to be The Godfather, the original.
Godfather 1 or Godfather 2?
Godfather 1.
Yeah.
Second would be Goodfellas.
I would okay. I'm with you 100% on board, except for I put Goodfellas 1. I put Goodfellas number 1, Godfather number 2 in my list.
Yeah. No, they're very close. They're very hard to kind of pull apart.
Yeah,
So definitely they're top 2.
both great.
Yeah, and then the third one I'd probably say is the Godfather Part 2.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So we have the exact same opinion on the third one. This is crazy how much we have the same opinion. We just we just mix up the first one.
Yeah, and then the fourth one I'd say is probably for me would be Carlito's Way.
Really, Carlito's Way?
Yeah, it's just something different.
Great film. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the fifth one is a tough one. I'd probably say, well, I'm not sure, maybe Donnie Brasco, or maybe what's the one with
Heat?
Yeah, oh no, Heat's an interesting one. Actually, that's an interesting one on the list. Yeah,
Heat's in my top 5. Actually,
is it? Yeah.
Well, Donnie Brasco good. Was actually, I had to think it over like for a long time. I was like, is Donnie Brasco in the top 5? But it couldn't beat Heat.
Black Mass.
Oh, Black Mass.
Donnie, yeah, pretty good. The Departed is obviously definitely in there as well.
Yeah.
So I think you've kind of got a real fight for 5th place, like The Departed, Donnie Brasco, Black Mass, because Black Mass is around all about Whitey Bulger out of Boston.
Yeah.
That gang, and yeah, they're interesting. He was brutal. Jesus, Johnny Matrimano, the hitman. But yeah, that's an interesting story. Period.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. I'm trying to think like, I don't want to interrupt. I'm trying to remember like where because I landed on my top 5. So yeah, it was Goodfellas, Godfather 1, Godfather 2, then Heat, and what was the one that it wasn't Departed, but it was like close to that. Man, there's so many. You know what? I'm just gonna leave the 5th one open for now.
Yeah, it's a bit tough, man. Yeah, it's a bit tough.
I have a question though. Like, so I mean, just in Australia, like I know there's a mafia presence in Australia. I don't know like what their level is, or like, however they got, like, how, if they ever got big like the New York mafia. But how are they different than like the New York mafia? Like, do they have Australian accents, or like
Yeah, the Aussie accent's an interesting one. Yeah, look, you don't really hear about There's no guns here, and there's bikie gangs here.
oh yeah.
Similar. You get a few bikie gangs here. That's really where most of the criminal activity happens, or you read about it in the news, or if someone ever gets shot, which is very, very rare, and it's the bikie gangs. I'm not aware of any organized crime, like mafia style, except for bikie gangs that
Oh,
I
crazy.
can. Yeah, that's I don't really hear of any of that, and
Like the
people who
Hells
know.
Angels kind of shit.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, you obviously if you see that, you just stay away from them. They're
Well,
obvious because they get the jackets on, the
yeah,
emblems.
but they don't have guns, right? So they're like, I always forget. Like, yeah, there was a mass shooting in Australia. I don't know what year that was. I learned this from Jim Jeffries, mostly, that
Yeah,
like that Australia was like, all right, shut it down. You can't have machine guns. And like where I live, especially where I live, because I live in the southern part of the United States. I live in the South, where
yeah.
every single Yahoo has, I mean, I'm talking about, they have like assault rifles, and that's not a joke, man. This is like I'll get, like, when I drive, I used to get kind of angry, like road ragey, but like
Yeah.
the proliferation of like assault rifles up in these dudes' trucks, I'm like, you know what? You cut me off. It's fine. I don't need to get. I
Yeah,
don't
I
need
know,
this. I don't
right?
need this dude like emptying a clip into me.
I know. Yeah.
And then getting let off like on this like stand your ground law. It's pretty fucking gnarly and shitty over here, man.
No, I'm very, very familiar with it. When I was on Wall Street, part of my job was to go around the States for actuarial exhibits or events. So I would travel around the States and I would exhibit a lot of actuarial events throughout the United States. So I got to see a fair bit of the States. And yeah, the different, gun happy states over some others. But yeah, you wouldn't want to get road rage and then jump out of your car for the guy to jump out with a Uzi
Yeah.
9 millimeter,
And it's
Schwarzenegger style. Well, yeah, yeah, you can cut me off. It's fine.
I know, like I'm about to like spring something on you, because I don't know if you've listened to this podcast before, but a lot of times we have co-producer Colleen just kind of like handle part what's going to happen. And whenever we have a talented actor, sometimes we do a special acting exercise. And if you're cool with it, it's this. I have 3 dishes full of notes that are written by co-producer Colleen. Each
Yeah,
one contains for you, it's just going to be like the role of a gangster, just like, and you like, it'll be like, you kind of play that kind of the same way you did in Hell's Kitchen, but you'll be a
yeah,
different kind of level of gangster. You might be a Don, or who knows. I kind of just gave
yeah.
her. Well, we watched the film together, and she was like, "I got the idea." And so, uh, for
Yeah.
me, so we have movie scenarios, which changes the plot, setting, all that shit. And then for me, which is always just, I think, fun for people to laugh at me, because I'm not an impressionist. And
Oh,
from the
yeah.
past, people know that that's not what I do. But my shitty impressions, I think, add like a little bit of flavor to the whole mix. If,
Well,
and then and then and then and then in post, what I do is I send this podcast over to co-producer Bill, who adds in Foley music, sound effects, and creates 3 short
yeah.
film trailers out of it. So if you, I know it's
I got the perfect one for you then. I got the perfect one. How about this? Since you and I, our favorite movie is The Godfather,
yeah.
how about I impersonate and I play Marlon Brando? I'm going to sound like Marlon Brando in The Godfather. I'm going to play that character.
Okay, I love it. Do you want to do so? So I'm not going to pull any cards for you. You'll always be Don Corleone.
I'll be Don Corleone.
Okay, but the
I'll do the
situation,
accent and everything. Don't
the
worry about
situation will change. Okay, let me try if I can see if I can do it. um, he's very nasal. He's like, you come to me. If you had come to me as a friend, these scumbags would have already I'm fucking this up really bad.
Okay, I'll step in.
What did I do? What did I do? What did I do to deserve such disrespect?
No. Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires. What have I ever done for you to treat me so disrespectful? You
That
come to
is
me today with dollars
spot
to be
on.
married, and you ask
Okay.
me to commit murder for money, but you don't ask for respect. You don't even think to call me Godfather. My youngest son, Michael. Like, all these guys in this Salazzo business. Got all these trumped up false charges. I gotta make arrangements to bring him back to America. But I'm a superstitious man. If he should be shot by a police officer in the head, struck by bolt lightning, or hang himself in his police cell, jail cell, I'm gonna blame some people in this room. And that do not forgive.
Oh, that was so good. All right, you are Don Corleone, and that's it. We're not gonna pull any cards for you. So let me find yours. Okay, this is movie plot scenes. Keep that. Gangster hierarchy. That's for Steve. Getting rid of that. And for Doug, famous movie gangsters. So I'm just going to say, like, for people that are listening to this, that like listen to the podcast all the time, you already know that what it is, what I lack in ability, I make up for in enthusiasm. Yeah, did you know that quote?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
however, we're about to make movie trailer magic. All right. So first off, Steve is Don Corleone. We are going to be in Jurassic Park. But by the way, I want to mention again, Bill, co-producer Bill, is going to put in like Foley and music, and it's really gonna be awesome. All right. And I am Jack Nicholson from The Departed. Hell yeah. Didn't you put that in your top 5?
Yeah. Top 5 Departed.
All right, man. So
Jack Nicholson.
all right, so do you want me to start off, or do you want to, like, it's either like I can kick it off, you kick it off, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So it's a scene out of, just pretend that we're in a scene out of Jurassic Park as these two characters.
Let's say like we've Dr. Grant, Ellie Sattler, and Don Corleone have just arrived in those Jeeps to Jurassic Park, and let's say, like, instead of John Hammond, it's Jack Nicholson playing John Hammond. Does that sound like a way to kick this the fuck off?
It certainly does.
All right.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. We have taken dino DNA, but every time you talk to me, you distract me, and I can't fucking write. Wendy?
Oh, what's going on with all these dinosaurs? I look like my ex-wife. I got a guy who can arrange to have a couple of dinosaurs whacked. We'll make him an offer he can't refuse.
I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm telling you, this is Jurassic Park, Don Corleone. It's my park, Don Corleone. So if you don't like it, you can get out.
Look, you get 2 options. You can sign the rights over to the park. We're signing this piece of paper. It's either your signature's gonna be on it, or your brains are gonna be on it. What do you want to do?
Here's Johnny.
That was the best I could possibly do. Like, all right, in post, that's gonna sound fantastic. So let's just move on.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay. Moving forward, we are doing Pokemon Gotta Catch 'Em All. Are you familiar with Pokemon?
No.
Okay, well, it's like it's a cartoon.
Anime.
Yeah, you gotta like,
anime.
so you catch very rare animals and you make them fight. It's kind of actually almost in some ways kind of, so I'm not very familiar. It's a lot like dog fighting, so I think it might work with gangsters.
Okay.
Okay, and holy shit, I just pulled Marlon Brando Godfather.
Yeah.
Okay, head on head, Marlon Brando, Godfather, Pokemon. I came here to collect them all, collect all the Pokemon. What have I done to deserve such disrespect?
You know, because of all this Salazzo business, I'm gonna have to take all of your fucking cards. Because you get into this drug business and you're doing all these cards. We can't allow it. I'm gonna take them all. And that's how it's gonna be.
Just want to say, look at how they massacred my Pikachu. Look at how they massacred my Pikachu.
I know you think all these dragons and all these beasts are all pretty and nice, but you know, I think you're obsessed. To be honest, I think you're obsessed, and you know, I swear on the souls of my grandchildren that I'll not be the one here today to start a war. But if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm gonna find your family, and you're gonna kill your dog, and your mother, and all your family, and your cousins, and your aunts, and your goldfish. I'm gonna find everybody you went to school with, and we're gonna kill them too.
I want to just hand down the business to my Charizard. I just want to say that we are also two clones of Don Corleone, and I'm obviously the lesser clone, and that's why I don't sound correct. And end scene. Fuck, that was, man, it sucks I had to pull out the same character you were doing like fantastically better than me. But all right, there's only one more, and I appreciate your patience. Your patience is your patience is you should. I want to give you. I know you're catching a lot of awards right now, but I'm going to hand you my views of my own award for patience amongst Doug's terrible impressions and insane ideas for what is an appropriate way to interview a person. All right, now we're doing Halloween Michael Myers franchise. I'm sure you're familiar with that. This is the guy with the the knife and the
I'm a big horror fan.
Okay, you are once again Don Corleone, and I am. Let's see. Fuck yes, I'm Ray Liotta from Godfellas. I'm excited. Okay. I can do a Ray Liotta.
Yeah, nice.
All I ever wanted to do was be a serial killer because they could do whatever they want. You know, Michael Myers, he moved slow, but that's because he knew he didn't have to move for anybody. I'm not really setting us up for a really good like dialogue here. Ray Liotta and Goodfellas is always kind of like he's not really a boss usually.
Well, why don't I switch and do Christopher Walken has been as a gangster. He's been in the gangster movies.
Well, fuck yeah, I do Christopher Walken, and then I'll do Ray Liotta.
Let's do Christopher Walken, right? I'll do Christopher Walken, and you do Ray Liotta.
Michael Myers thinks it's better to be a serial killer than the president of the United States because he can do whatever he wants. Hey, I'm gonna punch you in your fucking head, Karen. That's what I call Michael Myers.
You know, Michael, hey, fuck him. What are you gonna do? This watch, I got this watch for 5 years. This watch has been up my ass. What we're gonna do, we'll get the watch. We'll find Michael. I like Michael. Get the watch. Fuck Michael. What was they saying? We kill him. No, we get his sister and we kill his sister. And then, yeah, fuck it. I'm an actor from Brooklyn.
I love being a gangster, but sometimes I have to ask Paulie. Hey, Paulie, Michael Myers is after us.
Okay, we'll just go fucking end scene there because I'm garbage at this and you're fucking nailing it. So I'm gonna ask you so we're off script now. I've already I'm out of questions and you burned through that by making me look like a fool. So I have to ask you though. I know you don't do stand up anymore. Well, actually, I don't know you don't do stand up anymore. But I assume that that was something you were doing in New York. You still fucking with it? You still get out there?
I don't get out there, but I I but when I wrote Hell's Kitchen, because technically when the reason why I got the part, I don't know if I told you that, obviously I haven't told you the story, but and this is the thing about making your own projects. When we made Impulse, so me and Josh, we made, just to dive, this is a good point actually. So when I made Hell's Kitchen, the reason I got the part with Tamora Morrison, who's a huge actor, obviously, I didn't have to audition or read for it or anything. Because of that work, that body of work, the director saw some of my footage, and just they called me out, and it was like, I went and meet him, and he said, "Oh, I've got this." He gave me the script, and we had this meeting during the day, and he's like, "I want you to be, and the Star Wars guy, tomorrow." Now I'm thinking he must be confused. There's no way. And I said, "Oh, Tamora Morrison." And he said, "Yeah. So what do you want? You want me to read for it, or do you want me to, audition?" And he's like, No. I don't think you understand. The part's yours. I've already seen your work. That's it. It's done. You're in." And so it's very rare. So when we did, so that's a testament to an actor being able to do their own work. If you can create a body of work of that quality, then it can lead to just parts and keep parts. That's when I got to work with Tamora Morrison. But we did Impulse as well. That is a pilot, and I play the Reverse Flash, and thousands of fans were going nuts over it, and my performance of my take on that. I don't know if you've seen it, but the interesting part, we released that, and it went gangbusters online. We released it globally on YouTube, and it went gangbusters. And literally overnight, if you can imagine a line going up, and then one day it just disappeared, because we pretty much got shadow banned. It's that good.
Fuck that. Really?
Yeah. Overnight, we had
sucks.
130,000 fans. It was going nuts. Just trajectory up. And in the back end, the SEO, all the stats, literally 2 days before the trailer came out for The Flash, bang, just vanished. It's still on there, but the views and that. So it's like just a clever way of shadow banning something with quality. But look, I don't care. It's testament to how good it is.
Yeah.
And the quality. But that performance, we're very proud of it. And but look, again, that's the thing that I think, if you can make your own work of that kind of caliber, then ultimately it leads to additional work. And I'm confident we're just working on our next feature film, which is a horror, not Hell's Kitchen, because that's a big budget. But the next one is like a X-File-esque Silence Falls.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, dude. So hey, are you like a giant X-Files fan like me?
Oh yeah, both Josh and I are X-Files nuts. Yeah,
grew up on it. Like, dude, I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. Like, so like growing up in America, like, a lot of things are things you don't realize till you're older. When I was a kid, I thought I wanted to be an FBI agent so bad, because I thought the X-Files was real, and I was like, that's my dream. But then I found out in real life that FBI doesn't really do anything cool.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge and it's David. I love David Duchovny. When I go back and look at the first season, I can see how the actors learned on the job, and it just became better and better as the seasons went on. And but we're obsessed with the X-Files, so we were watching a bit of that, and the writing, and just inspired us, where it's like a psychological touch of horror, X-File-esque alien. Yeah, it's gonna, me and my daughter, we go into the woods, cabin in the woods kind of thing. Silence Falls, the town's all weird. There's weird shit happening. There's a military base that's set up. There's UFO sightings there as well that have been run for decades, and it's a pretty creepy little town. So it's an American production. Everything we do is American, as in we don't.
You shoot here. You shoot in the U.S.
No. We shoot here, but any projects that we do is American film, is Americanized. Yeah, for a global audience. No one, it's a shame, because no one really really. It's about ROI as well. It's a business. People forget it's a business. It's just about a return on investment.
Yeah.
I don't want to make fluffy shit that indie stuff or that's just not quality that people are not going to watch globally. So we make it for a global audience.
Yeah, and I think like people do forget like certain things, like, because everyone thinks like Hollywood produces everything, and if you forget, like, George Romero, he shot Night of the Living Dead, one of the biggest movies of all time to this
Yeah.
day. That shit was shot in not Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Shot that shit in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh with all Pittsburgh actors. Everyone on the crew is Pittsburgh. Like, I mean, and it's every zombie film that's ever been made since then is based off of that work. So I mean, like, think the global capacity, like, especially things are changing so much. So are you shooting on the Gold Coast?
Yeah, we'll shoot it in and around Queensland in Australia, and the Gold Coast. There's a lot of hinterlands, or like it's crazy because it's such a huge state. But you can drive an hour and you're in like the woods and up in the mountains, and you're like looking at almost pine tree. It looks like parts of the states,
Yeah.
in certain areas. So, the kind of the trees and so forth, and really scary cabins. So yeah, we'll shoot it. We'll shoot it around here, and it's just easy to shoot. But yeah, but if you get a chance, Impulse, if you look it up on YouTube, it's a pilot. We're If we win the film festival next week in LA, which we're confident we will, the special effects are insane. I mean, the fans online were like, the Flash series, I think the last season, there's 2 million an episode, and the fans were just going, "This looks better than the episodes of the last couple of seasons of the Flash." They're not the TV show. So
you guys get hit by DC, right? Is that what?
We don't know. I can't mention
know.
any.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know.
Well, there's a ton of shit going on. I'm sure you're all familiar with all the controversy on the Flash, and it was kind of like a lot of DC films these days are kind of like a bit of kind of a flop. But people were kind of calling for that dude that plays the Flash to like step down. I don't even know why, but I think he did some dickhead shit.
A little bit, yeah.
So yeah, dude. Usually I just wait till the end to like say like, yo, where can we check this out? But like just off the right now, like, yo, where can we check out this Anti-Flash?
Yeah, so it's called Impulse. So
Okay.
it's an origin story. It's for the fans. So the first most of the film is very much more for the young fans, and it starts to get dark when there's a death in it, and it switches, and that's where my character comes in, and then it starts to feel and look like the movies. It starts to get dark, and then I come in. So it's a little bit like watching two different types of film within the one film. But Impulse is on YouTube. Just type in Impulse dash or comma whatever Cine Studios, and you'll probably find it. So Cine Studios is CINA Studio. Cine Studio. Yeah.
CINA or
think so.
CIN? All right, cool. Yeah, I'll put that in the show notes too.
No, sorry, Cine E.
Oh, Cine. All right.
Studio. Yeah, sign CINE like cinema. Then
Yeah.
studios with an S at the end. CINESTUDIOS. And then just put in Impulse. And you should get the episode coming up on YouTube.
Yo,
But,
Steve, can I put you like hella on the spot again? Like another,
Yeah.
like just kind of like I keep forgetting also, like, you just woke up and I'm over here like in America, I've been like, this is like my evening. I'm all just like like wired, drinking caffeine all day, just like, you're like I've been out of bed for 5 minutes and this dude's like, do impressions for me. But I am curious, and honestly, man, if you don't remember, that's fine. But
Yeah.
when you're doing stand up, man, did you have a favorite bit? And if you did, could you like just like share the bit?
A lot of it's pretty X-rated. I don't even know you could pull it off these days.
You could pull off any fucking goddamn thing you want on this podcast. I guarantee
okay.
you, dude. We say crazy shit. Only thing I think the only thing I gotta worry about is like, we can't say assassinate someone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's pretty much your only. So you can't say assassinate someone. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I used to tell. I'd have my. I can tell you one or two different types of jokes. I can tell you. So this is my favorite joke that I wrote, and I kind of put part of it into in Hell's Kitchen. I
Oh,
actually
cool.
put a lot, right? But I'll tell you a joke that I think is a very funny joke. So, which is not in Hell's Kitchen, obviously, but so my favorite joke is when I'd come out on stage and I would be like, this is one of my opening jokes. When I'd walk out and I go, okay, all right, guys, give me a show of hands. So you get the audience. There's 300 people in the studio that were there, and I used this actually when I followed Louis C.K. that one night. So I came out. There's 300 people. Everybody's there. There's couples. There's married couples. There's people on dates. The first, second, third date. All these happy couples sitting there. I come on stage and I go, okay, give me a show of hands. All right, guys, give me a show of hands. Who here? How many guys who here has had a blowjob whilst wearing a condom? And all the guys are putting their hands up, and all the guys are like, yeah, me. And I go, well, I'm here to tell you, don't ever admit to that shit, because now everybody knows you fucked a hooker.
Oh shit, that is X-rated.
It is X-rated. And so what happens is you've got all these guys who put their hands up.
Yeah.
They've had a blowjob whilst wearing a condom, and then all the women, they're like, I reckon I've basically broken up a lot of couples on the way home. And
Yeah.
So they're pretty brutal.
Well, yeah, dude, you're like you're on that like that brutal level. No, yeah.
Do you want me to tone it down a little? You give a joke that's more PG
no. I was actually just thinking like because you just said earlier when you said you followed Louis C.K. I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that you had to like come after that dude because he's pretty fucking raunchy himself. So I thought you like said you warmed up. You like came after.
No.
You were like, let me turn up. You're like, you thought his shit was fucked up, like.
Yeah, we hear my stuff. Yeah, so
that's awesome, man. Are you done with comedy? You're gonna like do it some more, man.
Although I don't know, I keep thinking about getting back into it. The problem I had was I'd write 10 pages of stuff that I thought was funny in my head, and then I realized only half a page was stage worthy, would translate to the stage. So
yeah,
it's a lot of work doing.
Because like in the short film, like just mob dudes telling fucking jokes to each other, and then it's like this is exactly the kind of joke you would expect a mob dude to just say,
Oh, I studied the transcriptions, the FBI things online, and you can hear real mobsters talk from wiretaps.
Yeah.
And I listened to a lot of them, and they were brutal. I actually toned it down. I mean, I actually was asked twice by the actors to tone some of the two of the jokes, like they just did chit chat conversations because it's very high dialogue and we're just chit chatting away.
Yeah.
And so when I was writing it as, I kind of set out to write the characters as me playing all of the characters, like the personality of me in all of them. And then I wrote a lot of black humor and that kind of mix, which doesn't, what does that say about me? But then I told him, obviously act it straight, and that's how you achieve the realism. But it's a lot of black humor, but the way they talk. But I think even small things like, I took my niece to trying to get into the Statue of Liberty, but it was closed for maintenance. And I said, well, what was I saying? That makes her the only woman in New York that's hard to get into. The Statue of Liberty's closed, but that, these like almost every sentence I was trying to write it in a humorous way.
Yeah.
But it matches the way they speak. But they're brutal. I thought I was less aggressive than real gangsters, but
yeah. Well, yeah, those dudes would be like shooting dudes in the head. So I imagine they're like their level of like comedy is going to be like they're gonna need like a little more bite.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, fuck, cocksucker, this and this and that. They swear constantly. They
Yeah.
just constantly swear. And they talk about obviously brutal things anyway. But it was fun to play. I mean, I had an absolute blast. The character, yeah, it was an absolute blast. You should read the feature film script. I mean, I introduced a whole fictional five families.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I've replaced all the five families, so it blurs you can't. In the short film when he's talking about the real estate developer with the funny hair,
Yeah.
right? He goes, hey, you got, talk my guy Roy, get him to talk to my guy Roy. People don't realize I'm talking about Studio 54, and I'm talking about Roy Cohen, and I'm talking about the real estate developer with the funny hair, which is Donald Trump, President
Oh
Donald Trump.
shit! Holy fuck! Oh
People
my
don't
god!
realize. So when I start telling everybody what you don't. So if I was to give you a breakdown of every sentence, we don't mention anything. Obviously, it's played in a fictional world, but it's blurring the lines between, because all the cement coming in and out of Manhattan during the 70s, forget about it, right? You needed to. You were getting through the mob if it was above 2 million at least anyway, and he was the air rights above when he built whatever tower, but. I mean, he didn't have any. So the subtleties when you talk about the porn star, you still seen that porn star. That's a reference to Linda Lang. Elmer Dahori was a real art thief. So art forger, world top 10. And so when he talks about Picasso's and Renoirs, that's the plan. And so it's so fast paced that people watch it 2-3 times before they start to get it. And then but they don't.
No, that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's so fast paced. Like, I think I might have caught some of that shit if I watched it one time, like right before I talked to you pretty much. And then like, yeah, like we said, like the real estate developer with the fucked up hair.
Funny hair.
Like Donald Trump. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the famous line when he says, he said he makes more you'll get that nightclub on West 54th or whatever. Or whatever he said, and then he goes, that's Studio 54. The bags of cash is famous about the IRS couldn't find it, but there were bags of cash. Every line in that movie is either something that personally happened to me, someone I know, or it's true. It happened in real life, but it's blurred, and the references are all things that happened. And then a lot of that stuff, there's either classic jokes in there or a lot of that original jokes, obviously, that I wrote. So when I break it down to the actors, their eyes popped out of their head. I was like, you're saying this, but you're talking about this, and you're saying that, you're talking about that, and it means this, and it's connected this, and it's connected that, and the whole, like, holy shit. Every single sentence in that whole script has meaning.
All right, I'm gonna rewatch it now with like with open eyes. Yo, but Steve, I have one last question to ask you. It's the most important question of all. How can people? All right, first of all, how can they check out your films? How can they follow you? Anything you got coming up, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I got a public profile, Steve Young Actor, on Facebook. That is public. They can follow me there. Sons of Summer with Tamora Morrison is out in cinemas. I think it's already out on Amazon in the US. Blood Vessel is also out. Impulse is on YouTube. Hell's Kitchen is on Amazon, Apple TV, and Google Play. You can get that there. And how else could you follow me? I think Facebook, the Steve Young Actor, is probably the easiest thing. It's public. You can go on there. You can follow me. You can message me. You can talk to me. I've had a few crazy people reach out to me, though, off of Hell's Kitchen because they didn't like the way I portrayed Italian Americans. But I mean, that's going to happen.
Oh,
they watch it on Apple TV or Amazon, and then they just try and, like, I don't know, trying to talk to me and reach out to me, which is fine.
It was spoiler alert to people that listen to this podcast. I got a new segment coming up called Doug Responds to Hate Mail. I got a bunch of people that have been sending me some cruel, mean things, and we will be responding shortly. Obviously, I was putting it off. I was like, nah, man, I don't fucking, negativity, blah, 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 blah. And my buddy was like, no, man, haters are good. and you should be thankful for the haters. And Thanksgiving is coming up. It's an American holiday. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
celebrate that shit in
No,
Australia.
I still I've always celebrated it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good holiday to just eat a bunch and fucking be thankful. But
Exactly.
I'm gonna. I think the Thanksgiving episode is literally gonna be me answering the hate mail, which is hilarious because all these jackasses that have said things to me, like really mean shit. The funniest thing is they all like hit me up from like their their open public Instagram profiles and bullshit like that. And I'm like, it's easy for me to just go in there and be like, oh, okay, coming in hot. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know what the legality of this is. Steve, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. I hope you have a fantastic. What is it? Is it tomorrow there? Is it Sunday there?
It is Sunday, so I'm in the future. You want a lottery tickets?
I was going to fucking say that. Man, if only we had that scam, I would share every last penny with you. I swear. But man, Steve, thank you so much for being on the podcast, bro. I hope you have a fantastic Sunday, and I hope that I have one tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. It's awesome talking to you, Doc. Thanks, man.
It's good to meet you too, man.
Yeah. All right. Take care. See ya.